Well, welcome back, viewers. It's been a minute. I've been doing all kinds of stuff and some things. It's been actually quite fantastic. Been getting um, doing a lot of sim racing. Haven't been able to do a lot of sim racing streaming because the streaming I can do is on PlayStation, and I've been practicing for a racing team I got invited to. Don't know if they're actually serious, but I wanted to practice, so I can't really stream while I'm practicing because it's kind of more serious than that. Been doing a lot of ACC, or Assetto Corsa Competizione, as they call it. Extremely fun. I don't really have a lot of good graphics to go with it, but I'm really getting comfortable. Doing some good lap times. Just did a race last night at Bathurst, Mount Panorama in Australia, and took a Porsche to all the way to 10th place. So that is fun, but that is just the reason why I haven't been streaming that. Plus, Discord had an issue figuring out which microphone I wanted to use, even though I had already clicked on which one I wanted to use. So it black screened because it has a streaming thing in it, and it black screened twice while I was at Brands Hatch and put me in a wall at about 140. So I had to drive the car clear around the track because, of course, I couldn't wreck into the pits. I had to wreck into the pit wall. So all the way around the track, crashed, steering wheel 180 out. Super awesome. But so now I don't do I got some microphone issues. Let's put it that way. But that's not what we're here for. We ordered this a while ago. This delicious little piece of sickness right here from Taiwan, off of eBay, of course, because that's where it's done. And I don't know if you can quite see that. Oh, there, look. Okay. So tilt that back. Yes, you can see that. You can see the gears moving in here. So right here, you got the Spur Gear, and that's where the motor would go, right? So your motor is over here. You got your little electric motor mount. All right. So it engages this gear. This engages this sick-ass carbon fiber drive shaft through your aluminum bulkhead, and this thing has an open differential case. It's just an aluminum bulkhead. In the back, you see the red part back in here is a spool. So the rear is locked up together. I'm not sure you'll be able to see it because the camera is pretty terrible, but that is a Kyosho tire on an HPI rim. And these things are massive compared to what we normally get. I think you can see that. These are significantly bigger. They're just huge. So this is like a road racer from afar and from a long, long time ago. The front, as you can see, same open pinion, but it's got like this Teflon ball differential. Now, I bought this car because I thought it was a Tamiya TB02 Pro, because I've got a TB01 Evo. And the bulkheads, and basically I've seen one of the TB02 Pros and it looked kind of similar. And with just kind of pictures, you don't necessarily know 100%. You can't see any logos. There's nothing on the car that really has told me yet, if anything will ever tell me what brand this is. But I'm thinking, because it's these big brass ball fittings where the rear arms are attached, that's just not Tamiya. It doesn't look right for Tamiya, the arms or the ball studs back there. But I truly don't know. Another thing that's just not looking Tamiya-esque is the number of Torx screws. You see how they're not Allens? Well, it looks like a freaking Allen because you can't see it. Let's see if you can see it anywhere. If you can see, they're jagged. They're not an Allen screw. They're Torx. And another thing, see this Servo Saver here? This spring-loaded deal? So this arm goes underneath here, across top of the drive shaft without touching it. and activates the steering, right? Yeah. Let me get a hold of that. Okay, so I'm pulling the steering, and you see this piece right here is like a spring-loaded Servo Saver. That's like a HPI kind of thing. So, or if it's a Kyosho, but it just doesn't give off that Tamiya vibe. Anyhow, we have some kind of janky shit going on here. You can't really see it very well because I chose it very poorly on a webcam, very cheaply. But as you see, look at the shock mount bolts. See how they're just kind of screwed into the plastic and the shocks are just loose. It's the same in the back, and if you look, the shocks. Let me get down in here. There we go. See how the shocks are on the inside of the shock tower, and yet the outside of that. It's like they didn't quite have the ability to put the shock right up on the back. And they decided to put some weird plastic nuts on it and weird fucking bent bolts or something. I don't think those are the right bolts for it, but I don't know. Body mounts have been sliced. Not necessarily a big deal. I guess I'll have to figure something out. I think, if I'm not correct or not mistaken, if I'm not correct, it won't work. If I'm correct, this should be able to go right here. And you see how it's taller than the other one. The other one's right here. So I should be able to work some body mounts, and I should be able to rework the shocks. And I've got a Spectrum S614, pretty heavy duty. I think it's an off-road servo. Drift cars are kind of always turning, so a pretty heavy duty servo I think is necessary. And that's what this car is going to be. Look at the alignment values that I got to work with, like how much tie rod I can suck the camber in on the top, pull the tires in at the top. This thing comes fully loaded. I don't know, like I said, it's like HPI or Kyosho, I would think, and maybe not. Aluminum uprights. Let me turn that to where you can see it this way. These uprights here are aluminum. Doesn't have aluminum knuckles, but front and rear aluminum uprights, and a full carbon fiber chassis, upper and lower deck, carbon fiber drive shaft, aluminum motor mount and bulkhead, front and rear aluminum diff mounts or bulkheads, however you refer to them, aluminum battery cover strap, and what I've got to do, I believe, is something along the order of this. And if you look, how perfectly does Tamiya stuff fit on other people's stuff? I'm just convinced this isn't Tamiya. But if it is, well, its own stuff fits on it. But if it isn't, Tamiya stuff usually can be kind of a decent cross for quite a lot of this stuff. Because if you don't really believe me, most of this stuff is designed on Tamiya because they were first, as far as I can tell. But I've got some lovely steel gear differentials, even though they're open. It's all ball bearing, obviously. I mean, this thing is just like the steering is just flies. This one is a ball differential up front and a spool in the back, so it should be able to hang the ass end out to the side pretty well. I have a 13.5 turn Novak brushless motor coming, as well as a Novak Crusher brushless motor control. Kind of vintage stuff. Novak's not even in business anymore, but they did make some sick stuff when they were in business. The radio is right over here. And all it is, I love these things because they're cheap and they work. So, got a Spectrum SRX 200 receiver. And it looks like the STX2 digital handheld, unless I decide, of course, I think I might have already told her that, because I got this one. This one's a Spectrum SLT3 with SR315 radio. Obviously off of eBay, they're maybe taken out of a kit somewhere or whatever it is. But for our purposes, they work great. On a 3-channel setup, I think we could probably get some lights on her drift car, which kind of might be cool. And she likes the foam steering wheel a little bit better. So I think that's might be what's going down as far as radio and control for this one. And then with that Novak gear for the drivetrain, I got Tamiya strap for it. We've got these carbon fiber Gens Ace batteries. They got a real nice hard case on them, so take a beating. But yeah, this car is going to be absolutely the business. It's got aluminum front body mounts as well. I hope I can reuse them. But these do look like some of the stuff that I bought that were Tamiya. So I don't know. Maybe they've been swapping Tamiya parts into it. Maybe it is a Tamiya and it's just fooled me with the HPI and Kyosho gear. And that this is a TB02 Pro. And they were just super heavy duty, hardcore things. I don't know. What I do know is that we paid like $140 for it. And I think it's been repaired a little bit and fudged with. But it is a workable piece of equipment that's definitely turning into another drift car. Plus, I don't have it right here. I seem to have misplaced it somewhere. Somewhere cruising around here is a Lamborghini Super Trafeo body with a purple chameleon, like a blue and purple and green chameleon paint job. It used to be her racing car, or on her racing car. Now it's going to be back on as a drift car, because when we went race car with the TRF 416, so we could both drive road racing cars. We went with the R34 Skyline body for hers, and my 417 is obviously this little Porsche Carrera 911. So that's the story with this one. We got a whole nother build coming. I got parts on the way. I got to swap it, do an alignment. We've got aluminum purple rims with a chrome polished section out here, and then a fresh set of slick drift tires to throw down with. So this thing should absolutely be sick. And I think with a 13.5 turn motor, we're going to have enough RPMs, because these are usually geared pretty low. But this one looks like it's got some pretty good sizing on the gear. Either way, this is absolutely sick. And I love taking these super old school racing cars and drifting them out, because they're kind of broken or not. They're vintage, so you don't necessarily want to use them too hard. You certainly don't want to run them full speed into a wall trying to road race them. But drifting is usually at this slower pace, and it's just kind of more fun and relaxed. You're not pushing the car so hard. So all this extra aluminum and carbon fiber jazz really just kind of makes it look and perform even better at the job. And they last so much longer as a drift car than they do a road racing car. Plus, we've got plenty of road racing cars, and it was her turn to get into a drift car. She really wanted one as a, as like a full-time rig next to her road racing car, after finding out that she's indeed good at road racing and really likes it. Matter of fact, she's stealing my sim racing rig pretty much every week. So there you have it. Teach somebody motorsports and you shall be their pit crew forever. Enjoyably so. So what do we have extra to do? Cool news. Got some contact foam racing tires. But you see how the center of it is like huge, like it's missing? That is where the bearings go, because this goes on a Formula One car. And this is his wider rear counterpart. So you see how one of them is big, one of them is small. And then this one's got a hex drive on the back of it. That is how this chassis works. So you see we've got another batch of carbon fiber and aluminum goodness. What I'm waiting on is the, we had all these other things to get onto, but I need to get a steering servo for this. So you see that is how beautiful an F1 rim looks like in flight. So, and it fits right onto there. And of course I haven't got any of the front end built because the steering servo rides right here in the center. And then the battery pack rides right there. So hang on a sec. You have to get a little tiny special battery pack. And of course you're going to have a motor bulkhead and other things like that. So the battery pack's going to sit down in like this. You see? And this one's even a little bit big if I'm honest. 3500 mAh, which is I believe milliamps an hour. From Gens Ace, of course. Really prefer those. Oh, there goes my tire. What happens when a Formula loses its tire? These have a solid axle and a swing arm rear. Okay, so up here you're going to have a shock that compresses this way. And then here you don't have shocks. There are no front shocks. It's the actual torsion front suspension. And you've got a plate here that allows this whole thing to shift. So if you notice this T plate right here, the T bar, allows this whole thing to get a shift on that's pretty significant. You know what I mean? And it's, you can see that it's wiggling and you can get it up in different angles and stuff. Now I wouldn't think it would ever travel that much, but it'll definitely travel some. And then of course you got your front tires that'll locate right there. So, and they're gray rims. I believe that the Benetton B194 actually raced with a gray rim at some point during that season in '94. So should be okay, I guess. And for the shelf, I've got the bright white rims that I'll put the little BBS green stickers on. Maybe the gray rims will get the blue ones or something like that. Also, I kind of wanted to do this today, but since I've got a kiddo to watch and some other, don't worry, he's busy with a friend. There we have yet another pair. And oops, what happened here? Ah, that is two pairs of beautiful, and what are they? 37 Shore? 37 Shore foam tires from Contact Racing. All of the tires that I get are usually from Contact. And these are for my Porsche, my little blue Porsche. This guy. You see? I already got 30mm rims, but in doing some donuts, you see how those stickers, when the suspension compressed, the stickers caught on the bodywork and they don't agree with each other. So take those off and transfer them into the bin for later, for perhaps another road car that just doesn't have that problem. Spares for my R34 Skyline, perhaps, because it has a good tendency to burn tires. So yeah, we got that all set up and ready to go for some new shoes. And what I'd kind of like to do, just to sit down here and punch this out with all of you, if you're willing to stay for a sec. The hell did I do with the, there it is. SRX 200. We'll just go ahead and throw this because I was having some serious issues with this vehicle getting about 35 feet away, and it would just start cogging real bad, just skipping out, because the radio is having a huge issue keeping up with everything. It just doesn't want to perform. And I'm kind of like, it's a spinning drive shaft, which is like a spinning piece of metal is likely making some issues with this radio chip and with the power of this motor control. I've got a Castle Sidewinder 3 with a 3000 kV motor, as you can see, and that's aluminum motor. And this thing rocks. As a rally car, this absolutely rocks. Body is obviously a Ford Sierra Cosworth rally car. I've got it dolled up with the Colin McRae livery. And I would like to get rid of the radio issues. I've got aluminum steering. I just did aluminum knuckles and uprights in the front. Soon I will have aluminum knuckles coming for the back, aluminum arms, and aluminum shock towers, all in a fetching blue. Because that's where I think we should go with it. What is this? This thing is built up on a platform? What? Look at that. It's got like a little stand on it, folks. This thing has got like a little stand me up and touch, tickle, and wiggle me kind of deal. I'm liking this. All right, so if we can get all this stuff to route back over the top of this, what I'd kind of like to do is potentially get this back up here where it's just a little bit, because it's smaller than this radio. You'll see this Sportworks radio is a 26 megahertz AM, and it's big. It's genuinely too big. Well, not too big for the car because that's what they used, but you get what I'm saying. Too big for my purposes. To be honest with you, I don't have to use the radio stand, but it's glued on, son of a bitch. Oh, it's got sticky tape on it. Damn it, and that's a crime to waste that, isn't it? Oh, come here, you. Come on. Come off of there. There you go. All right, we're going to go with the ever standard replace it as sticky tape and get rid of the little weirdo stand they've got. Let's get this undone to accept a new radio. I'll get tested and then I'll cut the live stream back off because I've got to go and practice racing at Suzuka in Japan. Suzuka circuit is very challenging. It's very fast. It's a brilliant circuit, but it's extremely challenging. So need all the practice I can get. Got to race at 5. Every time I finish one of these races for the Fanatec series, I get entered in to win another Fanatec CSL Elite steering wheel assembly. And since I already have one, that would mean that I would be able to basically win a sim racing setup, most of it, or parts of it, for my beautiful better half, which, well, that's just more motorsports for all of us. I think that's a good thing. Hurrah! As you can see, I am a fan of small zip ties. I believe in them. They work. I also believe in the power of taking some heat shrink, and if you have an antenna, put the heat shrink all the way down towards the end of it, and it'll reduce its ability to move so that you're only wiggling out here so you never really lose the whole antenna if something breaks off. I don't know. Which one do I use? I think this one. All right. So, double-sided duct tape is another good one. It works. All right. So, what we want to do is make sure where we got the wires. So, black to the outside, brown to the outside, black to the outside on that one. Okay. And that would generally indicate where positive and negative are. But depending on what your setup is, receiver wise, you might not get that. And you see them kind of wiggling, giving it the old wiggle. You're going to have to do that quite a bit on stuff like this. This Sportworks receiver is actually so tight, it kind of had to be like, I don't want to say forced, but it was quite a task getting that stuff in there. Oh, baby. Oh, I feel it. I feel it. All right. Whoa. She's a fighter. All right. So there you have it. There's your typical 26 meg AM radio. You see the chip up here in the side. That will match a chip in your little receiver here. But these are like cell phone, or not cell phone, but like cordless phone technology, like 2.4 gigahertz frequency hopping spread spectrum surface receiver. I think that's what the FHSS means. 2 channels, steering and throttle. It has an auxiliary power port and it has a bind plug port. Watch out. I don't know if it needs to be bound, because the last one that I got that had the bind plug, I turned it on and it started working. So that is that. Here we have our delightful little assemblage of wiring. The motor control has a fan setup, black and red. Castle uses an orange, red, and brown assembly for their main control. Steering servo, 20 kilograms, super cheap, $17 edition from eBay. I could upgrade it. I could throw this thing in there, and that would be cool. Just order another one. But I kind of like the performance on these. They don't die very easy. They kind of take a beating. So we've got this receiver here. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Way to delete. A good reason to delete this stupid antenna post. I don't like a big antenna tube hanging out through the body. If you roll it, it just sucks. So, let's see. There's this thing. Let's see. Should I just glue it? Should I just glue it, viewers? There is this antenna working right back through here, and I can run it through a body post. Seems like a good idea. I've got some of this happening on some other ones, so it's not really that big of a deal. And the 2.4 gig stuff usually holds its juice as far as transmitting radio signals. Okay, so we got a little bitty receiver. We've got a little piece of plastic real estate upon which he may reside. And now we make this the cleanings, yeah? Or at least some form of that. I'm not going to guarantee that that's what that actually is. I'm feeling that these screws have pulled up a little bit of material here, which I do not like. I'm going to file that off and give a little bit of a rough surface to my little plastic gearbox friend here. All things being equal, I would think. Come here, you. Ah. All right, so this car is rowdy as hell, and it likes to throw the dirt and pitch a fit and get it all sideways and hang all the fun twiddly bits out the side. So I had some wire. Let's see. No, that's not it. Not it. Nothing. I get nothing. I have to accept this nothing and enjoy it to its full potential. Until I find this. Okay. Double sticky tape, and the stuff they send to you from the factory is usually pretty sexy. There we go. Do we have glass cleaner? Walmart. Whatever you can find. But this spray stuff smells so nice. It's just lovely. All right. We have rinsed, we have filed, we have brought a little bit of a buff to everything. Now let's bring a little bit of trimming to our friend the radio sticky tape. Oh, yes. Yes, my friend. There we go. Dead center in the middle. A little bit of stuff's going to pile up anyway, so, don't sweat it. Have the radio antenna as far away from the wires as you possibly can. I know I didn't do such a good job on that last time, but this was also an upgrade where I kept the radio in place and allowed the new motor control just to go in and have some fun. Okay, well, I think we might just kick it this way. Why not? Doesn't necessarily have to be all straight. I kind of like to prefer them to be a little bit straighter than that, but not necessarily such a bad deal. I'm going to take this and feed it right through the next body mount hole. The cotter pin hole in the body mount makes a nice spot for these wires to go, and it'll just hang out. So no biggie there. All right, so under the THR is where you're going to put your big throttle or motor control setup. And usually we're going to go around to the outside because that's your ground. And that's exactly what it says on the top. You can't see it until you get right over the top of the markings. Your auxiliary is where you want your fan, and put your black to the outside, red to the inside, where it says positive and negative on your receiver. You also have the steering servo cable, which is 8.5 freaking feet long. Don't know why, but I'm not repinning it, people, so don't ask. All right. Now we've got that set up. Let me get into some zipper ties. And we can be done. We can check this thing. Of course, you have to find these so-called zip ties. This is not the easiest part of your day. Especially when you're kind of been doing like a crap ton of sim racing. And not so much RCing because the damn weather keeps changing back to cold, winter, nasty ugliness. Which I get it. It's cool. Do your thing, nature. But when it's warm, we'll be out doing some more wonderful RC car stuff. Well, that's not happening right now. So here's what we're going to do. Since we have it hooked up, and I need to get this like a little bit more sealed off towards getting these wires zip tied up and away from this drive shaft, I'm just going to plug it in here. Okay, and let's make a little bit of noise. See if this thing goes. And if it goes, I'll shut the live stream down. Like I said, I got to get back to practice. I got some lunch to be making, stuff like that. All right, so we got this is on. Okay, so it's saying backwards. What do I got here? Throttle's been reversed on the switch, so ooh. Okay. Okay, so I got it set up to overrun and have a little bit of some serious brakes actually. But if you notice, this car has got some significant zip to it. Ooh. Oh, I love the smell of burning rubber in the morning. Oh, that's so nice. It's like cute burnt rubber. Oh, you're so impressive to me. Such a wonderful little car. Okay, so as you can see, you don't necessarily need to use your bind plug unless you're going to rebind stuff later on. And isn't that fantastic and wonderful in every measurable way? Plus, when you turn this on, both the radio and the receiver, or the motor control and the receiver, understand, hey, guys, we don't have a transmitter. See how much safer that is? You see how it's blinking red and blinking green and everything's wrong and it's all wrong and bad? Oh, look at that. So it just picked up, went through the rest of its cycle, and it wants to go. So the 2.4 gigahertz stuff is a lot safer in operation and practice and has better range. Usually, I have to admit my AM stuff was disabled a little bit by certain things. And I have had AMs that were quite rangy, if that's a thing. But as you can see, we've got some really good developments going with this one. As soon as I find my zip ties, I'll be able to lock this thing the rest of the way down. And then once I get the rest of the aluminum bits put into it, this thing will be a completely gnarly rally car. So that concludes that one. I've also got, I believe, a better answer for the motor and motor control for my Mercedes Le Mans car, my TA04R. I might be doing something a little different with that one. Not very happy with the way the soldering went. It did go, but I don't really like it. So might be doing something different there. Yeah, that'll do it. I'm going to cut it because later on, after I get done with some practice, I'm going to finish zip tying that thing. And I've been waiting to drive that for weeks, and it's finally like kind of sunny out. And before I have to do like a massive service to our car, brakes, oil, filters, all that, real car. Yeah, I gotta have a little bit of fun with this. I've been waiting for this car for a minute, and tomorrow or Sunday it's supposed to be sunny and kick-ass warm, so I can do all the work on the car out in the driveway. So this will be keeping me busy while I'm getting ready for all those races on Assetto Corsa Competizione, however the hell they say that. So thanks for dropping in. Appreciate you viewing. Loving all the subscribers. I think I'm up to like 16 or something. There's somebody new. Welcome. I'm going to keep trying to get onto this stuff, and I'm going to try and figure out that Discord thing so I can do a little bit more streaming on the sim racing side. But I think it's going to take a serious computer upgrade before I'm really capable of doing a lot of that. So as this channel started, this pokey little motoring show on the YouTube, it'll probably just continue to be a lot of RC and a little bit of sim racing here and there. But either way, I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you very much for stopping by. And it's time for lunch. We'll see you guys.